Hey, think it's finally working. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can
Awesome.
hear.
Finally.
Yeah, perfect.
This is the first issue we've had with Restream. And okay, let me double check. We are live on YouTube and Twitter, a couple of places. Just wanted to double check. Those of who are listening to us on YouTube, if you could just drop a comment, if you can finally see us, because I think it was showing a few things, but definitely not our videos correctly. Anumit might have to rejoin if you want to get your video fixed. Let me try and add him again. We're also waiting for some. Oh, there we go. There he is. Okay, awesome. Cool.
All right, here
It
we
only
are.
shows 3 people. What is it? Is this some sort of a. Do I do this? I am trying my best. No.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I think Restream is just having one of those days
Mhm.
today where it's having a little bit of a challenge with doing things, but they are. Think they can see us. They can see us and hear us. Okay, awesome.
Mhm.
Finally, we are live. Took us a little bit of. I would say this was harder than getting all the prep work in the last 30 minutes that we were doing for the testnet. But yeah, welcome everyone, especially to a lot of new people who actually have joined us in the recent weeks. I believe we have done a bunch of calls on Discord and Twitter Spaces, but this is how we usually do our calls. Like we have a live stream, and I think last time people had asked like, why can't I see the people behind the team? And I think perfect timing of somebody's just joined. There we go. He is here. Somebody just joined us as well. Awesome. Cool. That's what I was just waiting to get everybody in. Let me make sure I can get everyone in like some sort of a thumbnail. No, it only does one for some reason. Okay, this is way better. Contain. This is what I was trying all this while. So yeah, we usually do a live stream on YouTube and on Twitter. So if you follow us, you should be able to see the live streams on both of these platforms right now. And we try to put our faces. Unfortunately, on Discord and Twitter, it's always a little bit of a challenge, especially with screen share and so many other things as well. So that's going to be something that we'll be able to do here on at least. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining. And I think I was not supposed to be the one kicking this call off. It's a little late at night for our community manager Michaela, but Sammy, you are officially the host, so I will actually give you back the speaker sort of privileges and put you in focus. There you go. There you are, sir.
Hey, everybody. It's super great to be with all of you guys this evening, night, morning, wherever you all are. Really, the important thing with what's happening here today is, well, last week we commenced our mint, this Snapshotter Lite node mint. And, there has been a lot of you guys that have come in to participate and really have shown so much excitement. And honestly, it's been incredible for us. It means the world. And today we actually are putting all the effort that Akshay, Anumit, Swaroop, our engineering team all over the world have put into making this testnet go live. So this is what today is all about, is to kind of give you guys a little bit of an understanding how this is all going to come to life with your Snapshotter Lite node. Super excited, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sami. And yeah, I think I was going to introduce a couple of people on the call who are pretty much played a lot of role to behind the scenes. They usually, I think they haven't been on the space yet. Anumit was there, and we lost him at that exact moment when he was talking about something super cool. But I think you guys have had the chance. So Anumit is one of the co-founders of the project and the chief technical officer for everything tech, everything that Powerloom has been doing for the last 3.5 years. He's pretty much been behind it. So, Anmit, if you want to speak a little bit, especially about how we've been, getting to the stage now, especially like today, with like essentially, I think we have like 40, almost 4,200 nodes, which can potentially go live. So yeah, tell us a little bit, and I'll just put you on like as a speaker if I can. Hold on. There you go, sir.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Varu. I'm one of the co-founders of Powerloom. We've been working on this together for like almost 3 years now. You must have seen a lot of activity coming from us during the incentivized testnet phases. We have had literally like 500 to 1,000 participants snapshotting data. But this initiative that we took was to take like really the next step into opening up the network to a large scale of participants, and also to test out like the waters of how people would like to really contribute to democratizing data access on Web3 information products, some things that are pretty much like reserved behind large staking silos. I mean, we used to have this term in Web2 called paywalls, right? Like that was like a common term, but now I like to call them staking silos, because you bring forth like a huge amount of wealth on your behalf, and you are essentially getting to control like a lot of the network that really kind of goes opposite to what was the point of decentralization. What we have brought forth now, learning from everything that we have done with 2 phases of our testnet and onboarding like more than 100 snapshotters, is that we can really utilize this decentralized nature of coordinating data calculation, computation, a lot of heavy lifting among like literally thousands of peers. Like this is like a real distribution of workload supported by decentralization, where everyone's incentives are aligned. Technically it works, technically it is reliable, technically it is accurate, so you can build your Web3 information products on these kind of networks. And at the same time, people get incentivized to actually support the whole reason of having decentralized data. And why would you want some reliable third party sort of coming and verifying, participating in the ecosystems? This was the vision, and as you can see, we have onboarded more than 4,000 node mints at the moment. So imagine like all of them coming together to guarantee the security, the reliability, and the accuracy of the data that you are going to consume from this network. So I believe like this is like a huge step forward, and this is going to further open up a lot of innovations in terms of the data products and markets that we will be able to offer, given that now we can efficiently kind of categorize between the peers that have light computational capacity, maybe heavy computational capacity. Can they run multiple data markets? So this is like our first step towards that, where you basically work on your node works on atomic units called snapshots. They contribute back to the data market, and then we can have like further heavy computations. All those things are also coming up. So yeah, in short, like this is a huge step for Powerloom network, and we will be onboarding quite a few different categories of peers in the coming months, right? So but for now, I hope we have like brought the barrier like really low down to participate in a data network, to even let you see what is it that you're contributing, and then also contribute to the future of what is expected to be the standard of accessing data and information on Web3. So yeah, that would be a little bit from my end, but I think Swarup has a lot of different demonstrations to bring forth. So let's see that.
I was muted. Thanks so much, Anumit. But I actually wanted to. Akshay usually doesn't get on our calls, and he's like the brains behind so much of the work that has gone into the, especially the testnet and all those things. I wanted to make sure that he gets that limelight. So Akshay, if you want to speak a little bit, I know you're not somebody who likes to talk publicly, but stage is yours for a few minutes, and then I'll sort of walk through the details of what's happening next.
Thanks, Farouk. Yeah, so I guess Anomit covered most of the things. It has been really, really exciting. There have been a lot of challenges, especially like to make sure we are able to handle 4,000 people. And this is just the beginning, right? Our goal is to handle like 10,000 people. So yeah, that has been really challenging and interesting at the same time. So yeah, so far the entire team, me, Anomit, and a couple of team members, we have been working on making sure everything can scale at the back end. Uh, and yeah, looking forward to it. I'm sorry, I don't have anything else to say right now.
Something I do want to add to all the efforts and work that has been put thus far. You know, for many of you that have participated thus far and secured yourself a node, you may have been with us along this journey and in this incentivized testnet that we did earlier on with CoinList. From where that was to where we are today, and the numbers that we're speaking, guys, and you have been truthfully the arbiters of making this happen, but we've 42 times what we did and what we learned in that incentivized coin list so far, and that's massive. And so this is a testament to also the engineering work, the diligence, everybody there, and of course all of you that are participating. Thank you for your patience in doing this with us, because this is a huge milestone to be able to get to where we are today and where we are going as well.
Totally.
Awesome. Thank you, Sami. I think that's like it's very easy for like people make a lot of assumptions in our space that whether it's a certain testnet or a certain project you get compared with, it's very difficult to see when you've had progress for a while, where we reach somewhere, what is the effort that has sort of taken in. And that's why I'm very thankful to a lot of our community members, right? So they actually keep us motivated. And I know it can be very challenging when there is a whole new thing that is happening, because there's a lot of questions, and that's kind of where, like, even what we did with this node mint, it's something, I wouldn't say absolutely unique, but it's definitely something very new for us as well. So it's been another challenge that we have been trying to solve, and I think we are trying our best. I'm not saying we are perfect, right? Like, that's the goal. That's the goal of doing testnets. That's the goal of getting things in. So before I sort of get into logistics, I just wanted to check, just making sure everything is good to go. We will address Q&As and stuff probably at the end. So this is a slightly longer call than usual, so we'll do our best. So I think the first things first, so in terms of what's going on, what's going to happen today, right? So one, this call is going to go around for another maybe 25 minutes at most, including Q&A. Ideally, we want to close it out, because the goal is after that we want to make the testnet live. So we don't want to do that while the call is going on, because it's going to be too much for everyone to manage, because the team has to sort of go and monitor systems, be on Discord. A lot of you have a lot of questions, so we want to answer all that, right? We also want to put a lot of things live. So those of you who've been trying to access the dashboard for the last 20 minutes, you'll notice that it says it's going live in an hour. The reason for that is that, because we had to stop the simulation system that we had built, and now the testnet goes live. So anyone who had passed the simulation test until now, you're already marked in a system. You don't have to worry about it just because there's a new testnet going live. And those of you who didn't, we will address that as well later in the call, and what we can do. Obviously, this is where you'll actually be running notes, and you'll be running them 24/7, right? Like, that's one of the goals as well. But to keep in mind that we haven't given a lot of information upfront before this call. So what we decided is that we're going to give a little bit of a buffer time, right? So just like we gave a bit of buffer time for you guys to set up your simulation setups, right? So a lot of people who were trying to run their nodes, and they were wondering like, hey, this is the first time I'm doing it. So we realized that, okay, this is not something you can do in 24 hours. So we gave people sort of this guaranteed rewards as long as you were able to get that done before this call started. If you got in, you were guaranteed rewards up until today. It doesn't matter if you ran it once, as long as your dashboard showed that simulation setup is complete. Um, we have marked that as complete as well, right? So, and some of you were obviously able to see the rewards for the last 3 days as well. But don't worry about it. The goal is like even with the testnet, we're going to give a few days. Ideally, I think we're looking at about 72 hours once the testnet gets enabled for everyone. So things are already ready behind the scenes. We just want to not crash it right away, trying to do everything on the call. Like, we want to make sure the coordination is done in a smooth way as well. So I'll do a quick walkthrough on what it's going to look like. And ideally, Shantanu, who's behind the scenes, who's made this awesome video for us, and he's busy building a live tutorial for you guys. And that's one of the goals, right? So we're going to publish a more official video later as well. And a lot of people who couldn't join the call, right? This is one of the things that did happen. There's no perfect time zone. For example, for Sammy and me right now, it's about 9 p.m. And for Anumit and Akshay, it's about 10:30 a.m. And for our wonderful community manager, Michaela, it's like 4 or 5 in the morning, possibly. I think it's 5 in the morning. It's 5 UTC. And it's hard, right? It's hard to sort of pick a perfect time. So we thought we'll give people not just 24 hours, we'll give you all 72 hours again, right? So that you can actually go get familiarized. And we'll also talk about many other things. What we will not be talking about on this call, at least, because there will be questions I know about, oh, when's the token coming out? When's the mainnet coming out? What's happening in tokenomics? So all of those things will not be addressed. I think we have been addressing that on a bunch of calls. So those information will be released whenever they're released. You can monitor us on Discord. You can watch out, follow us on Twitter and other social networks, right? This is all about the testnet kicking off. The goal is people who have minted the node, and even if you haven't, you can still mint and actually take part in the testnet. That's the goal behind it, right? And it's all real time in the sense that there is no, we're not giving anybody benefit for the next 72 hours. At least we're giving everyone a fair chance. And then, but after that, it will be something that you have to be running the nodes. So if you are an early adopter, you're able to run nodes early on, you'll get the rewards. If you come in a little later, you just don't get the rewards for a few days. But nobody gets penalized just because they're not able to run their nodes. And I will talk about something at the end. And I think maybe Anumit and Akshay, when I do a little bit of the demo on, if you guys want to talk about what is it that this node is now doing, and that'll be probably helpful to get maybe have your screens and everything ready. I'll do just a demo of a very simple, like, what does it look like right now when you take the node online? What is the status? So these are things that we got the feedback on, and we have incorporated as much as possible. So the dashboard is not live yet, again, clarifying. So anyone, I think Prateek is handling all the chat behind the scenes. So Prateek, just a very important thing, it's not live yet if they ask, like, in terms of testnet. So I know the YouTube chat is just going way faster than we are used to usually. But that's awesome. It's nice to see so many people show up. I know it's either early, late, mid of the day for some people. So it's nice to have you all here. All right. So that's kind of the goal. And we will also address one important thing. I think we sort of teased this yesterday about this sort of a sister company of ours. It was something that I was actually officially part of before we started Powerloom, and with Blockvisual we are actually announcing something. And those of you who followed us on Twitter already are aware of what could be happening. And I will sort of go into the details probably at the end, because the goal is we want to make sure that our focus is on people wanting to run their own nodes first, and then we have realized that a lot of our community members are not as prone to understanding how the technical instructions work. So we've been working on a feedback, like, how can we make your life easy? But our goal is making sure people who do know how to run the nodes, we're going to go and do a little bit of a quick walkthrough today, right? So that's the goal. Okay. Maybe I will actually just get started right away. So those of you, I want to see a little bit of a roll call. How many of you in the live chat were able to get your simulation setup up and running, and you got that simulation setup complete, and the whole reward tab? Would love to see if any of you got that and you're in chat right now. On the YouTube chat, if you're on Discord, that's also okay. I probably won't be able to look at Discord right now because there's just too many notifications. I'm trying to monitor at least the YouTube's chat here on my right side. So let's see. Let me see. Patiently waiting. No need to rush. Do you have to update for the node? Okay. Up and running. Okay. Some people are already saying, I see a person, Sanchit, Salim, Akash, bunch of you folks. Awesome. That's really great to hear. I know it was a little challenging in the beginning, and a lot of you folks were able to make it happen. That was really cool. So yeah, I think now you might wonder why did we do a simulation setup? Because we sort of realized that if we gave the actual testnet, it would take a lot more learning. Those who have never worked with the Powerloom protocol to understand how it works. So we sort of did something that just runs once. You didn't have to like keep the node running. But from here on, the goal is that if you start your node, it needs to run 24/7. Now we have obviously designed it that it doesn't if you miss out on a few hours, there is a sort of a thing in action, and I will sort of demo that as well. So it's not like a complete loss, right? So let's say if there's a 5-minute internet disconnection or something like that, that will not penalize you. So we have essentially what we have built right now in this first version of the testnet. There will be many versions. Just clarifying again, it's a testnet. The whole idea behind testnet is to constantly experiment and get to a stage where we are like trying different things, working with the node operators, working with the community, getting the feedback, and then sort of improving it. And so that for the next 3 months, or a little over 3 months, by the end of it, we feel very confident that okay, I think it's good, and the community feels that we are confident we can go live and open it to the world and officially go to mainnet. That's pretty much what testnets are meant for. I know people have a lot of questions around how the tokens work and all those things. I'll sort of address that in the Q&A stage. Right now this is all about how do you run your node on the testnet. So yes, so we had the simulation set up, and now we are going to be I'll probably try to do a walkthrough a little bit about how it's going to look like if you have if you just have one slot, right? Obviously, there is a setup for all the slots as well. We'll probably do a proper video walkthrough. Shantanu is working on that as well, and then we'll do we are publishing some new documentation, so all of that will go live after the call. We'll make an official announcement for that. And I also wanted to check if there's any of our phase 1 snapshotters who were truly helpful for actually getting us here. Those who actually ran much harder nodes for those 3 months to get here. And are you also in chat? Would love to see if any of the phase 1 snapshotters are there. There were very few people compared to 4,000 that we have right now. 3, 2, 1. No, okay, I don't see anybody, but I did see somebody on chat on Discord just before we started. All right, so how is it going to look like right now? So I'm going to do, let's see if I can do a live demo of this. This is going to be interesting. Always a little challenging thing to do. So maybe I'll do a quick screen share. And we shall get this window. So this is what our dashboard is going to look once. Hopefully you guys are able to see the screen. Probably not. I don't think it's live yet. There we go. Okay. Restream has this extra thing. It's a little fancy. You have to like go and configure where it's going to show the screen and all those things. Okay. So this is the new dashboard. It's not live yet. We're going to make it live soon. And it's a little different. Now it's based off your slots. So most people don't have to worry too much because most of you just have one slot. So it's going to be very simple. But if you have more slots, they will all start to show here at the bottom. And I'll sort of walk through a few things as well. And I think I want to let Anumit sort of talk about what is really happening behind the scenes as well. So maybe I'll try to see if I can do a live sort of a demo of this as well. So let's see if we can do that. Okay. So right now, some of you have set your burner wallets as well, right? So those of you who did have trouble, we are going to give you one more opportunity. So what we're going to do is we're going to let you reset the burner wallet one more time for testnet. So please keep in mind, you must be wondering, why don't we allow constantly changing burner wallets? The reason for that is the network, as the network now it's going live, so each time you change the burner wallet, the network then has to go and reconfigure and understand who's really interacting with the protocol, right? And some of you asked, like, why do we even have burner wallet in the first place? So the reason for that is every time you snapshot data, and this is why it's very crucial to go through our docs. So if you go to powerloom.dev, that'll take you to our documentation. It talks a lot about what Powerloom does as a protocol, right, behind the scenes. Now, if you're not don't have the technical expertise, but it's still there is a high level overview that we have written. So there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes, right? So when you have your main NFT wallet, and if you were to sort of use that directly, right? So there was one risk that you had to be constantly signing these sort of snapshots. So it's just signatures. There is no real transactions that happen. So we have built this concept of relayers on the Powerloom network. So they take care of that. So you're just constantly signing these transactions. But the risk with that is then you have to extract your private key, which could be, your main wallet. Like, for example, I use kind of a wallet which doesn't even have a private key because I actually have a hardware wallet where I have my the node that is minted. So one that's already not possible for a few people. And second, I would never want to copy that and put it in any software anywhere, right? Like even if it's sitting on my own machine, I wouldn't trust it because that would be extremely risky because you have your assets. You have not only do you have your Powerloom Snapshot or Lite node, which cannot be transferred to anybody, but you don't want to have somebody else getting control of that. But you might also have other assets. So that's why we came up with this strategy that all you do is you link to a burner wallet, and this burner wallet does not need to have funds. As a matter of fact, you should make a burner wallet where it does not have any funds. That's kind of what we also designed it for. We've been sort of trying to explain this in our video guide as well, the reason for that. And some of you are confused, why do I need a burner wallet and where will my rewards go? So I'll answer all that in Q&A, but in a very short answer, the goal is that everything is connected to your main wallet, right? So whatever owns the slot, which we call as a slot ID. So the reason for the slot ID is essentially just when you go on Polygon scan against your address. So if you've actually seen and maybe I'll try to just quickly open that. So if you see the Powerloom node mint, so you'll see all these latest mints, they all have some sort of a slot number associated with it, right? This is your unique Powerloom slot number. It cannot be changed as well, and that's sort of the beauty of it, right? So that is connected to your wallet. Like as you can see, this is all going to a bunch of people who have just recently been minting. So yeah, so that's why we said that. And some of you have had multiple slots, but for the simulation setup, we kept it simple, right? We didn't want to confuse people around slots and things. We just said, okay, it's just your main wallet because all we care about is your main NFT wallet. So you could have multiple slots, but now for the testnet, of course, every node will be connected to a slot. The difference is that for your burner wallet, ideally we want to keep the same one, so you don't have to keep assigning every single one. Technically we support it, but we just don't want to like confuse people right now. And eventually, we'll give it away, right, if people really want to try that out. But yeah, the main reason is that when you use a burner wallet, that is the one that uses your slot to submit snapshots, and that's how we reach consensus, and that's how we sort of know that okay, you actually did a certain snapshotting at a certain point of time. And when you earn the reward for that snapshotting, that goes straight into your account. So that is already mapped to your slot, and that slot is owned by your NFT wallet. So I know it's already gotten a little technical, but I just wanted to clarify this because this has come up so many times, right? So the rewards are just going to your main wallet. You don't have to worry. This is why we allow you to change the burner wallet. You don't have to worry about what happens. So even if, let's say, you lose your burner wallet, or for some reason it gets compromised because you pasted the private key in our Discord, right? And now everybody has your burner wallet. The best thing is just reach out to us. We will try to reset your burner. We already allowed one. We just don't allow more than once because it just messes up the whole config every time. Because as soon as you change the burner wallet, then the system has to wait to reassign you. There's a little bit of, I think we should do a technical community call. Anumit and Akshay can probably explain the interesting bits on how it works, right? So that's something that I just wanted to clarify for now. Okay. Now, so once the documentation goes live, so there'll be these setup instructions. You'll be able to read this. This is a little different from our simulation setup, but very, very similar in the sense that the only difference is now you will be copying this slot ID here. So as you can see, I've just copied that slot ID, and that is the one that you'll be entering. And some of you kind of already saw that because we had accidentally pushed this during our first day of the simulation setup. We didn't mean to because we didn't want to confuse people. We decided not to use slots because we just wanted to keep it easy, but somehow some people downloaded it, the code, and that's the beauty, right? Like some of you saw it already, so that's cool. And so if you have more than one slot, that's what you would have to do. So sorry about that. Excuse the my little firewall that pops up sometimes. And so for if you only have one slot, all you have to do is now just copy this, and this will go into that. So this will all be published after the call. We'll make an announcement when the documentation is live, when the dashboard is live. So don't worry about it right now. It's not something for you to do. The reason that I'm showing all this is because this is getting recorded. You can always come back and watch this a little later. And those of you who could not join our live call, you have a recording as well, right? That's the purpose of it. So as it says right now, it's pending setup, and it has to essentially be assigned one more time. So that's one of the goals, right? So once you actually go set it up, this will actually go into a live mode. And at this point, I think I was thinking, because I'll do a few things behind the scenes to just set it up, and I don't want to like waste time. Anumit, I wanted to give you like 5 minutes if you want to like just talk about once the testnet goes live. Like obviously there are things like this time slot and all those things. So if you can sort of talk about it, I'll just get things ready.
Yeah, cool. I'll just quickly introduce the concept. Akshay and I will obviously later do a detailed technical community call. So in the beginning of the call, I think Swaroop mentioned that even though you keep your node running 24/7, there is this concept of slots, right? The idea behind those slots is that when you have this reward mechanism in place, there are certain snapshots that are considered quote unquote important for a certain time slot of the day. So whenever you're minting an NFT for the node mint, that is essentially being assigned a slot. One slot is 2 hours long in time span. So this fundamentally ties into how we have designed Powerloom protocol from the ground up. For people who have been with us for a while, you know that we measure everything that moves in terms of epochs. Epochs are nothing but like a span of blocks that move on the blockchain, the data source blockchain that you're tracking, and that gives you like an accurate time span of how much uh, data has been collected in exactly what duration of time. And this becomes now tied to that NFT slot ID that you have against your node mint. So in that time period, and this is also trackable, all the snapshots that you submit are the ones that really qualify for the rewards, and that brings you back to the Powerloom incentivization, which later on go towards the um, Powerloom's own token, right? So that is the entire reason that we have mentioned that even though your node keeps running 24/7, it is most likely to operate and give you rewards within that 2 hour period. So that 2 hour period is also comprised of something we know as epochs. 60 such epochs, 60 such epochs it is comprised of. That means over those 60 epochs, our protocol essentially chooses your node to contribute data snapshots for a certain section of randomized project IDs, right? This is, I'm not going any further into project IDs, but think of it as individual smart contracts on which you want to track data, right? So those are picked up at random for your slot. Your machine now becomes responsible to contribute data for those data sources. And that is where the protocol will now essentially give you further information on what was the accuracy of your submission. So essentially, if you have submitted inaccurate snapshots for that epoch and against that slot, they obviously do not qualify for the entire rewards. And if they do, the rewards continue getting added to the protocol state's contract itself. So whatever we are showing on the dashboard, whatever Swaroop is showing you right now, they are all pulled directly from whatever activity is showing up on the smart contract. It's not something that we manage on a centralized backend. So I just wanted to be very clear about that. The exact protocol architecture regarding this, yeah, we are preparing a technical community call. It's been a while also, and I'm going to push Akshay to the front next time to talk more about it, because it's like, he's the one who has been putting the nuts and bolts around these huge engines that move the protocol. So I think like it's high time we got to listen to it from the creator himself, right? And apart from that, what we do also have is the ability to kind of have multiple such setups. I know this has been an ask, multiple node keys that you have minted. How do we set that up? So we are preparing a certain tutorial and a shell script to just essentially make that way easier. We thought it will be a much lower barrier for you to run, like let's say 100 node keys on one instance, like if you have the resources. So we will give you the way to do that without any further like textual information involved, right? Because that essentially gets lost in translation somewhere. The instructions either get skipped. So we thought we'll give you another further entry point through a shell script that becomes basically just one command, and it pulls your information, it gets all your multiple slot IDs, and it essentially spins up the multiple number of nodes on Powerloom network. So yeah, that is like a little bit of technical detail. What goes on behind the scenes? What is this slot? Why are we giving you slots? What is the importance of that with your rewards? But yeah, do keep the node running though, because you will still be contributing to the decentralization of the network. And essentially, if something happens or the network goes under some sort of a let's say a censorship sort of attack, right, where there's a takeover, your nodes running it will be like the shield against such activities happening, right? The slot is purely to do with making sure that you do have the rewards that accumulate against your activity, right? So yeah, that is like in short, but do expect a lot more detailed documentation, blogs, and videos coming up in the next few weeks. Swaroop, I think you wanted to show something, right? Sorry,
Yeah,
I
awesome.
forgot.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much, Anumit. And I think, yeah, we'll do a technical community call and we'll plan that. I think the team has been so overwhelmed, like we haven't had the time to like sit down and like, okay, let's just like put together things. So we're obviously like working on tutorials and all those things as well. So they'll all be coming out. And I think some people started asking, like, is the testnet live? They just joined the call, so they don't know the context. Again, testnet is not live yet. We're going to make it live very soon. And the dashboard and the documentation and everything is just about to go live very, very soon, right? So just like bear with us for a bit, right? So I'm going to try something that I'm usually not a big fan of, but I enjoy doing it. It's like trying to do a live demo and actually going live on the testnet. So let's actually give it a try and see if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm going to go straight into Q&A. That's the goal. Okay. And before I do this, yes. So once we end this call, give us another maybe 30, 60 minutes. We'll make an announcement on Discord. So if it's late or early in the morning for you, you don't have to worry. I just wanted to clarify because I think that was the last 2, 3 messages that came in. There is going to be a buffer time, right? So it's about 72 hours that we are thinking. We initially thought 24, but we're going to give it 3 days because it's also the weekend for a lot of people. They have family and we don't want like people like rushing trying to get the node set up, right? So you have 72 hours. So as long as you set it up before the end of that 72 hours, we'll make sure that you continue to get your daily rewards that we have in mind, right? So it's similar to what we did with simulation setup, but we are also doing it with this. But you do have to get your node running and it has to be running live, right? So simple as that. Okay, so enough ado. Let's try to get this running. Okay, I have my slot ID and I have gone and copied this here. I do promise that I have not run this yet with this account. So I'm just going to make sure my burner address is fine. Everything looks good. This is on another screen because I don't want to show my private key. Do not need any gas. Do not need any token on the burner address. You don't need anything once you have the node mint on your main wallet. So simple, right? That's what you design. And also this is the testnet, so we're taking care of a lot of the network calls and all those things. So right now it's a pending setup. So I'm going to take this slot ID and I will now try and run this setup for the first time. Okay, fingers crossed. Let's see. Right. Might have to do, oh, I might have copy pasted it wrong. Slot ID. Let me see.
Just delete the .env file within the directory and rerun it.
Yeah, it should be. I did. I actually just ran it once and then it said it was fine. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me take a copy of this and I will actually try to just delete it and run it one clear time.
Yeah.
This is what a lot of people have run into. Guess what? It's my time to run into this issue. All right, let's do this. Right, source RPC. Let's put this.
Enter the private key in a different.
Yeah, let me not show my private key on this one. So let me make sure I enter this on another screen. I had it. And well, at least we are trying to go live with it. So 2584. No, I think I'm still like hitting something with my code. Okay, no worries. I think that's precisely why I was thinking it's going to be a little bit of a no idea. It was actually running absolutely fine. Like something. Oh, okay. I realized. I'm running build sh. We are not live yet. That's exactly what's happening. I'm trying to run the live one. Testnet is intentionally not live. Perfect. Thank you, Akshay, for reminding me. I'm like, what is going on? All right. I myself forgot. I thought we had made the testnet live, but we clearly
No,
haven't.
this won't work
Yes,
until.
we have. Yeah, this is just our own internal one. Okay, perfect. Let's go.
So for others, what like our code repository is not public, so the GitHub code repository Docker image is not published yet. So
Yeah,
that will
there
work.
we go.
Only
Node is good to go. So does this mean, Akshay, can I go and check my status now? If my node is live?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or I'll wait a little bit. This looks like our simulation setup. So what I'll do is I'll just wait a little more, let it run for a bit. And I think
for people who will run this later on, so essentially it does that initial setup check, which you've already seen. And then it waits for a buffer period of up to 120 seconds, Akshay, right? 2 minutes
Yeah.
before it starts to look for epochs being released on the protocol. And once it finds the epoch being released on the protocol, that is when it begins the work of snapshotting. And also there is that bit of having to make sure that your network, your machine is working correctly to submit during those slot IDs, right? Even if it is calculating, its submissions are very essentials during the slot ID itself.
I'm going to try something. If this works, which means the node is online. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. It's connected to the testnet.
Oh, yes.
Let's go.
Last
ping 1 minute ago. So then it's going to obviously do that and connect. And at this point, your node, you can just keep it running. I mean, unless there are any particular errors, like Anumit said, we wait intentionally 2 minutes and then it starts connecting to the RPC. This is where you do need a stable RPC. So I did have to put, I've been recommending people to not use free RPC is fine. If you go to Infurer, especially Anchor and a few others where you can sign up for an account and get an RPC. We'll explain all this right on our tutorials and Discord again one more time, but I just wanted to bring that up because people have been using the public RPCs and you can't even tell if the RPC is working smoothly, right? So, okay, so all right, testnet is live, but not for everyone. So I just wanted to say I was able to connect to the testnet. I think on this note, I will, Sammy, since I know there were so many technical people on this call, and I wanted somebody who's watching, from a non-tech perspective, who's been looking at it. I know it was a very small thing, but we have been working towards getting that running right per node.
No, man. I mean, look, for so much of what I've been describing to people about what we've been building and how to be able to operate an infrastructure type play like this, right? Where this is a protocol, this is a real deal thing. There's like meat and potatoes outside of just like it being, again, like a PFP project or some other use cases for NFTs, right? And we're talking about soulbound tokens and this being
don't get distracted. I'm just showing them that there is more to just the simulation test. There's an actual node running. So I just wanted to show them that while you're talking.
For sure. No. And so, for us to be able to have this soulbound token represent a slot that then enables you to basically, for more or less one click and have this node operating is pretty amazing. So I'm very excited to see this come to life.
It's pretty cool. So yeah, I think we'll jump into Q&A. We are definitely running a little short of time because the reason is we would love to answer a lot of questions, but all the node operators are also waiting for the testnet to go live. So the longer we take, the more it gets delayed because we were thinking to make things live in the next 30 minutes. So let's see if we can finish. So I think one last thing, as Sami actually brought up that magic word, I've been thinking about that. Should I address it now or at the end of Q&A? Since you did mention one click. So this was, and I think in chat we can definitely drop the link that we talked about with our sister, sort of our previous company, and Blockvisual, who's going to be helping integrate very deeply into Powerloom. So the goal is like, for example, let's say if once it goes live, obviously we're still working with it, so it will probably be like sometime next week that we are planning that those of you who don't want to run your own nodes, let's say set it up on a server, configure, maybe you don't have the technical expertise, it's going to be one simple button right here, which will just say deploy via Blockvisual. And that's it. It'll take care of everything. You won't even have to worry about setting up your environment. You don't have to go set up burner keys, none of that. Everything will be completely automated, but it's going to take a little bit of effort for us to get that working. So please bear with us. It's something we want to bring more partners. So please also keep in mind the goal behind Powerloom is to be decentralized. If we were to only work with one provider, and especially a provider that will actually automate the nodes for you, that beats the point of having 4,200 nodes running, right? So that's why we want individually, like I'm a solo ETH staker. I don't stake ETH with other protocols because there's a reason for that. I could also put it on a centralized exchange, and it's totally okay. For a lot of people, it's a lot of work to run a Ethereum validator. So I think that's very, very important that we do that, and that's why we are taking our time. We didn't want that to be the default option. So if you notice, like it's all about getting that done. But yeah, it's going to be a one-click deploy. That's like our goal. I know some of you are waiting for it. We're just working around, especially the logistics and the pricing. How will it be? We're going to try our best so it's almost at a very, very nominal cost because we know that the rewards are not as tokens right now, and I'll address that in the Q&A. And we want to make sure your costs remain as low as possible, at least while this testnet is going on, right? That's our goal. So we'll try to make that happen, especially for people who have just gotten the one single slot. Okay. All right. On that note, I could potentially go to Q&A. I will try to get into less of Swaroop and more of let's get more people on this cover page mode. Okay. All right. We have a bunch of things. I love how it's perfectly like Anumit and I have the logo like this. I'm sorry. I think it's the camera is a bit flipped on my side. And then Sami and diagonally with Akshay. This is pretty cool. Yeah, it's the camera is a little flipped, isn't it? Yeah. Super cool. Okay. Q&A time. I'm going to put a timer and it'll be maximum well, we only have 2 minutes remaining, but we're going to give 5 more minutes. So we'll do 7 minutes, and then 7 minutes will be the last question, right? So it's about 9:28 p.m. here. I'll do math. 11 a.m. IST, 5:30 a.m. UTC. Okay. So basically, we'll go on for 7 minutes from now. That's why I like to talk in relative time. It's just so much easier to work with that. Okay. Q&A. Are we gonna get the questions here in the chat, or I can go through YouTube? But there's it's just like really busy as well, and it's also on Discord. Okay. What are the main questions we can go with? So let's see. I'm gonna go through some of them, which as I see. Okay, all right. There's one detailed question. I'll sort of try to address that. I minted 3 keys with 3 different wallets. How can I connect them all with the same node? Okay, I think what you mean to say is you want to connect them on the same VPS or the server or the computer, wherever it's running. So we treat every slot as a node. So it doesn't matter if you actually used a different wallet. This is the advantage that when it comes to so how I'm and maybe I don't want to go again to the live demo. That'll take some time, but we'll put out the tutorial obviously. But I think the main issue for some people is they minted it on different wallets. Now we did say there is obviously there's a KYC requirement, so you cannot actually claim your rewards if you are running it on more than one wallet. But for some people, we made an exception. I believe the early mint users got an exception up to 10 slots. So if you had more than one wallet, it's okay. But I'll address this question anyway, because technically from a a network perspective, we don't care about KYC and all these things, right? It's a mint, there's a wallet, there is a burner wallet associated. So let's say we have wallet A, B, and C, and they all have different burner addresses assigned. Let's assume that, right? Because maybe you kept the same because you own all those wallets, but you went to the Snapshotter dashboard and you assign them 3 different burner wallets. What it'll do, and once the testnet goes live, each slot will get its own burner wallet, right? So if it's per account, then all the slots in that account will by default get that burner wallet. So in this case, all 3 of your wallets will have 3 different ones, but it doesn't matter. What it matters is when you run this node, so you'll be running 3 instances of the node. So for every slot, you'll be running a node. So it doesn't matter which wallet the slot belongs to, if you understand that, right? So all it cares about is the burner address that is associated, the private key for it, and that's it. And then when the rewards have to be accrued, they will automatically go to the owners of that slot, right? So if that makes sense, that's how we are sort of doing it. So it's slot based, not wallet based when it comes to running the node, right? So obviously when it comes to accruing, then it's all slots go into the main wallet. And I know it's, we'll put an FAQ up, and I think that's probably the best way to address this somewhere. So okay. Next question. Yeah, we are looking to partner with more folks. We actually know a few of these teams as well, so don't worry about it. We have already been thinking about this for a while. The reason was that our focus was like just making sure we get to the testnet first, right? So we need this code to be stabilized, because when you work with partners, you do understand that it's not as easy as like, hey, get on a call and like get them to do certain things. And we have to work with their team, their bandwidth, their timing. So we have to be respectful of that. So it takes a little bit of effort, but of course everyone is free to go and fork our code. It's open source. We will never stop others people from doing it, but officially we will obviously announce who the partners will be. And obviously this is going to be a much deeper integration that we are trying to work with on the whole block visual side, because it's going to be literally one click sitting on your dashboard as well. That's kind of the goal. Okay. All right. Next question. I have Windows Server with Contabo, and I wanted to pick it up, even though I know it's going to be the hardest for me to answer. I have a Windows Server on Contabo. Since it doesn't have Nest virtualization, I cannot install Docker. Secondly, it's a Windows Server. I can't use PuTTY. Yes, Windows is, I don't know how to put it in a very polite way. It is a very hard platform to work with. And it's always going to be a challenge to use Windows to run any sort of technical workloads like this. So usually we recommend using something called WSL. Now, if you're using a VPS, which we were going to recommend for people who let's say don't have the machine specs and like don't want to run the nodes on the machine computer because you don't want to keep it online. So if you're using a VPS, then you can just pick a Ubuntu VPS. It'll work right out of the box. The tutorials are very easy. We already have built the guide on how to install all those things. And then, of course, we've also given a demo how to use GitHub code spaces, but that might be on the expensive side. So we would say go for something that's cheap as possible. So the person who mentioned about the Windows server with Contabo, it's just better to use an Ubuntu VPS. And I think Contabo probably gives it for $5 a month. Like, I mean, it seems a bit too good to be true for $5. I hope that server is not throttled, but that should be more than enough looking at the specs of that server to run a node. Hopefully that's answered. So there are some KYC questions as well. We will not be addressing on this call because otherwise it'll take away from people who want to run the nodes. KYC is very different from running nodes, please keep in mind. And we have been addressing on Discord constantly. I'll only say one thing right now, and that way I'll answer most of the KYC questions that come in. So our partner that we're working with, and please remember, this is for the testnet. This has nothing to do with your minted NFT. A testnet is a testnet, and it has its own program. It has its own sort of terms. And for that testnet, we had to work in a compliant way. So there are certain rules around it, and it's unfortunate, right? We are also from different countries, and on this call already there are like out of 4 people, there are 3 of us from different countries and from different nationalities, different languages that we speak. But unfortunately, the world works very differently. So I don't want to bring politics into it, but there are certain countries we cannot accept. And this is why we have a block on our website. So if you use the VPN, we can't help you because then you're going to run into that when you do the KYC. And that's where that's where some people got rejected on the KYC side. Others who are getting rejected because they don't have an ID. This is another challenge because ID is not enough to sort of check that, right? So that's precisely why we are having a problem. But we are working on that, and I think we've been addressing it every day. But people are expecting it to be solved in like 1 hour. Doesn't work like that, right? So give us some time, and we're working with an alternative way so that an ID can be accepted. It'll be a bit manual process, because those of you who have passed the KYC, how smooth it was. All you had to do was use your driver's license or passport, and it was pretty smooth. Okay, I'm going to move on because otherwise KYC will be the main thing. Is the same node will work in mainnet as well. Well, this is your testnet node, which itself I already mentioned in the beginning of the call. There's going to be a lot of changes, right? So every week or two, ideally, we will not make you do a lot of work every day. If you've been running the node, it's fine. But we don't want passive node runners. That is not the concept of why we want to do this, right? So the testnet is all about helping us improve. So if you think you're unable to participate, it's okay. There is no obligation, right? So there's no penalty that if you don't take part in the testnet, something will happen to your NFT. First of all, nobody can do anything to your NFT because it's not transferable. So it's as simple as that. So if you're unable to run it, it's okay, right? That's not a problem. And mainnet will be a completely different thing. So the goal is to get to that mainnet, right? So we'll be resetting the testnet. We'll also be having different codes. So please keep that in mind, and just make sure that you're following the instructions. And we will do more calls like this. We'll do a technical call as well, and that'll be the goes. Is the token going to have any utility? I'm not going to be talking about token on this call because it's about running the node right now. There's no token associated with running the node at the moment. All you need to do is own the slot. If you own the slot, you can become a node operator. You essentially get, right now in testnet, you do get rewards. Okay, can I use the same Burner wallet with all three slots in the same wallet? Yes, absolutely. I think that's our default right now anyway. You'll be setting one Burner wallet, even though we technically support different burner wallets for every slot. We wanted to keep it easy. That's why if you saw with the simulation setup, we intentionally forced everyone to set one burner wallet for their account. We will reset right now. This is why we need that time before the testnet goes live. We're going to reset the burner wallets in a way that you can set it one more time, right? So if you thought for the snap for your, let's say, simulation setup, you set it and then you forgot about that key. We don't want you to get stuck for the testnet, right? So we'll give you one more opportunity to reset if necessary. So don't worry about it. I know some of you were a little mixed up with that. 3 mint only need to set up once. Every slot does need to be set up individually, right? We are going to work on a script for people who have more than one slot. Essentially, if you do know Docker, you can sort of deploy this very easily, because all it does is you can use like Kubernetes and stuff like that, and you can just pass an environment and you can spin up multiple containers very quickly using a single code base. That's how it actually works. But we'll make an official guide as well, how to run for each slot. How can you run Docker is why we recommend it, right? Because it's actually very easy. You can just like spin up even 100 nodes if your server supports it. And that is, I think on an average, most people have between 1 to 3 from what we have noticed. But yeah, so right now you can just run it 3 times or 3 different servers, or however you want to do it, depending on how many slots you have. If you have one, that's good. If mint not sold out, the rewards will be calculated and shared to the minter. No, for the testnet rewards, I think we've clarified this many times now. It's fixed for the testnet reward. At mainnet, it will be different because mainnet is going to have its own sort of reward structure, mechanism, and also very market-based system as well. Okay. I think I have crossed the time, but I'll give it 2 more minutes. And thank you, Anumit, for actually giving all these questions so I could quickly go through them. I'll answer a few more things. Let me see. Can you please answer the question? Can we run the node only for testnet? Yes, this node is for testnet only. Right now, there's no mainnet happening for at least until the testnet is done. So please keep that in mind. I'll have to pay extra for an Ubuntu server. Can you please guidelines for a Windows server? I mean, the instructions are the same. The challenge is that you do need to get Docker working. If you cannot get Docker working, then you need to install Python. If you cannot get Python working, then there's not much we can do. But we have given instructions how to do that, right? On a Windows machine, you just need to get WSL installed. So if you have a Windows server, yeah, it's going to take a little bit of effort. We cannot give guides on something that is very specific to individual things. We can only give guides on basic operating system systems, but we are not forcing people to run it only on Ubuntu and Mac. Just wanted to clarify that. There are people running on Windows right now, and they are able to get it to run. It just takes a little more effort. Okay. Some people have asked like, okay, I have Docker is not working for them. How will they run this on non-Docker setup on 3 sites. It's very simple. As a matter of fact, the instructions for the non-Docker are also working in a similar way. So when you actually run that program, you can run it 3 times, right? So the safest thing is just make 3 directories and run it in 3 screens, and that'll run your thing as well with each NV. Ideally, it's not necessary. Anumit and Akshay are probably looking at me like that is such a inefficient way to run it. There are better ways to do it, but we will improve upon that. This is the easier, most convenient way to do it. Hopefully, that answers the question. Anything else? They want to know if the slot will be valid for mainnet. So the goal behind the Powerloom node mint is that you will continue to have the ability to snapshot at mainnet, right? So this is just a testnet program that we're running. When we made the mint, if you sort of, I mean, I know people don't go through agreements and all those things, but it is giving you access to the, and it's limited, right? Because it's only 10,000 Lite nodes that can exist on the network, at least until there is a protocol upgrade that happens that, maybe down the line community decides, no, we're going to fork it, we want more nodes. But right now at mainnet, that's our goal, right? So we want to launch with 10,000, right? So whatever, if you have the mint right now, you will be able to do that. So let's say you can't take part in the testnet, you can still take part in the mainnet. That has no connection to the testnet. Hopefully that clarifies. And I think, there will be more questions around it. But cool. I think we are well past our time, so I do have to unfortunately close Q&A. We'll answer some of these questions again on Discord as well, especially when it comes to technical things. Give us some time. Shantanu, as I can see, is already in chat. He's working on a tutorial. So the goal is we want to make the tutorial and documentation, dashboard, everything live together. So give us some time, maybe like an hour from now, and at most, we'll probably make the testnet live. Technically, it kind of is for the smart people who have figured it out by looking at my screen share. I saw some people already making calls to it. Awesome, no problem. We sort of accounted for it to happen. That's about it. Okay, awesome. I think first of all, thanks for everyone who actually came to the call. And I think while it was probably a little more on the technical side, because it's about launching a testnet and it's about node runners, and we are trying to make it easy, right? If you've seen the feedback, like we have been already improving it. Even our community, right? There's shout out to our community members who have themselves been helping other community members, right, on Discord. I think that gives me more joy. Like I'm think I was hammering on Discord like answers for like 7 hours straight, and I'm sorry if I don't remember all the Discord names, but there's certain members. I know the Discord PFPs. One has an ape with something on it with an Indian flag. I'm sorry, I forgot your Discord name, but this person just started helping, and that gave me that little bit of relief to go and like have a sip of water, and that really was helpful, right? If community members help each other, that's the goal. Powerloom is not about Swaroop, Anumit, SDR, or Akshay, right? It is about the community, right? And eventually everyone will be just be contributing to the protocol equally, and that's sort of the goal. That's what we want to reach. And I think it's amazing to see even a lot of video guides. There were some regional guides posted as well, and that's super awesome, right? That'll help people who have a little bit of language barrier. And just so you guys know, right, we all individually have our own languages. All 4 of us on this call at least have 2. Some of us have 3 or 4. So we stick to English for only one reason, because that's the one thing that we can moderate, and it's the most spoken, and that's about it. And we will try our best, right? We'll try our best to see if we could do some regional stuff. But until then, I think there are community members who are helping out, and it's awesome. I think that's what was giving me the most motivation to keep going and take some breaks from Discord when we can. That's I think that's all I had to say. Anumit, Akshay, SDR, anything last words? Otherwise, I will end the stream.
No, LFG. Let's go.
LFG, baby. No, thank you guys so very much for your time, and let's get this testnet up, guys. Thank you.